All right, let's talk about something incredible. We're going to pull back the curtain on how computers actually learn to see. And I don't just mean telling a cat from a dog. I mean really understanding an image, what's in it, and just as important, where it is. Let's get right into it.
So, it really all boils down to this one big question. Think about it. When you glance at a photo, your brain just knows. You see a car, a person, a tree, and you know exactly where they all are. It's effortless, right? But how in the world do you teach a computer to do that? That's been one of the toughest nuts to crack in all of AI. And believe me, this isn't just some lab experiment. This stuff is all around you, every single day. You know, when a self-driving car needs to tell the difference between a stop sign and a pedestrian, that's this. Or security cameras that can spot something out of place. Yep. Even those cool visual search features on shopping apps where you can take a picture of something to find it online, this tech is literally everywhere.
Okay, so for all that magic to work, a computer basically has to answer two really simple questions about any image it sees. What's in it, and where is it?
And you've got to get the difference between these two ideas because it's huge. On one hand, you have image classification. That's kind of like looking at a picture and just saying, yep, there's a dog in there somewhere. But object detection, that's a whole other level. It says, not only is there a dog, but it's right here, inside this specific box. See? That where is the absolute game changer.
So just to nail it down, object detection is the task of figuring out both what an object is, a car, a person, a stop sign, and where it is, usually by drawing a nice, neat box around it. This is the core idea we're going to unpack.
But, getting to this point wasn't easy. It was a real race against the clock, trying to solve this massive problem, this huge bottleneck that was slowing everything down.
So around 2014, 2015, things really started heating up. First, we got RCNN. It was a big deal, a major step forward. But man, was it slow. Then came FasterRCNN. And yeah, it was faster. But here's the thing. Both of them had the same Achilles heel. They shared this one critical flaw that kept them from being used in the real world.
And this flaw, well, it was basically the villain of our story. It was this clunky external process called Selective Search. See, before the smart part of the network could even start looking for objects, it had to wait for this other, really slow algorithm to just guess. It would generate thousands of possible boxes, or region proposals, where an object might be. It's like having a world-class detective, but they have to wait for an intern to slowly hand them a giant, messy pile of random clues. And when I say slow, what do I mean? I mean 2 full seconds, just to guess where to look. In the world of computers, that's an eternity. Imagine a self-driving car taking 2 seconds to spot a pedestrian. It's a non-starter. It's a catastrophe. This was the wall everyone was trying to smash through.
And you know what? They did it. They smashed right through that wall with an idea that was just so smart, so revolutionary. And this is where the hero of our story finally makes its entrance, FasterRCNN.
The breakthrough was one of those aha moments that seems so simple in hindsight. The researchers asked, wait a minute. What if we just stop using that slow, external thing? What if we could teach the network to find its own clues, to essentially tell itself where the interesting parts of the image are?
And that single idea gave birth to the Region Proposal Network, or RPN for short. Now, this wasn't some separate piece of software. It was a tiny, specialized network that was built right into the main detector. Its whole job, its entire purpose, was to look at the image's features and, with lightning speed, come up with really good proposals for where the objects might be.
The folks who invented it described it perfectly. They said the RPN basically tells the unified network where to look. Think of it like an attention mechanism. It's the part of the brain that says, whoa, ignore all that background noise. You need to pay attention to this spot right here.
So the big question is, did it work? Oh boy, did it work. Remember our old villain, Selective Search? It took 2 seconds. The new hero, the RPN, 10 milliseconds. Let that sink in. That's not just a little faster. That is a 200 times speed up. It's a complete revolution. The bottleneck wasn't just fixed, it was obliterated. And just like that, real-time object detection was finally possible.
Okay, so how does this whole thing actually work together? Let's take a look at the entire pipeline, from start to finish. Now, this might look a little complicated, but the logic is actually super straightforward. So here we go. Step 1. An image comes in and gets fed into a main network, what we call the backbone. Its job is to crunch down the image and pull out all the important visual patterns, edges, colors, textures, into something called a feature map. Then in step 3, our RPN comes in. It scans that feature map and says, okay, I think there are objects here, here, and here. After that, a little step called row I pooling takes all those differently shaped proposals and makes them the exact same size. And finally, the last part of the network looks at each of those neat, resized regions and makes the final decision. That's a person, that's a bike, and it also tidies up the bounding box to make it a perfect fit.
But the real superpower here, the secret sauce that makes it all so fast, is this idea of feature sharing. Think about it. Both the RPN, which is finding where to look, and the final network, which is figuring out what it's looking at, are using the exact same feature map from the backbone. They share the work. It's like having one brain with two different jobs. It avoids doing the same heavy lifting twice, and that's what makes the whole system so incredibly efficient.
Okay, so the theory is brilliant, but, the real world is messy. So how does this thing actually handle all the chaos of a real photograph?
Just think about it for a sec. Objects come in all shapes and sizes, right? You've got long, skinny cars and short, wide cars. You have tall people standing up and small people sitting down. How can a single system find all of these different shapes and sizes without having to scan the image over and over again?
Well, the solution they came up with is just genius. It's called anchor boxes. The best way to think about them is like a set of stencils. Before you even start, you create a bunch of these reference boxes. Some are tall and skinny, some are short and fat, some are big squares, some are small. Then, the RPN basically slides these stencils all over the image. Instead of just asking, is there something here, it asks, is there something here that looks like my tall stencil or my wide stencil? By doing this, it can find objects of all different shapes and sizes in just one go. It's super, super clever.
Look, it's hard to overstate just how big of a deal this was. FasterRCNN wasn't just another research paper. It completely changed the game and set the foundation for everything that came next.
And I mean, just look at the results. The system was suddenly able to find all sorts of different objects in really complicated, busy scenes and do it accurately. For the first time, reliable, fast object detection wasn't just a dream anymore, it was real.
But maybe its biggest legacy is how it paved the way for the future. Those core principles, the built-in proposal network and the shared features, they became the blueprint. This work directly inspired the next generation of detectors, a lot of which you've probably heard of, like YOLO and EfficientDet, which took these ideas and pushed speed and efficiency to even crazier levels.
So in the end, FasterRCNN did something amazing. It gave computers something like real sight. It didn't just teach them to label a picture, it taught them where to look. And that jump from just recognizing something to actually understanding its place in the world, well, it leaves us with a pretty big question, doesn't it? Now that our computers can finally see, what will they learn to understand next?